kind of a lot to unpack. A lot of stuff to talk about, really. We've got James Gunn, DC, DCU, Batman, Superman, and so on and so forth. I'll start off with the Superman teaser trailer. Honestly, it looks like it was ripped straight out of a comic book. There's not really much else to say. I feel like we need a bit more to really gauge the universe moving forward. There's a lot that's gonna happen in the future. We just don't know much yet. Honestly, I feel like the general consensus of this teaser is kind of split in two. You have one half that's like saying that it looks, like I said, straight out of a comic book. It's nice and colorful. This is what Superman is supposed to be. It's bringing hope back to the character as opposed to the darker approach from Zack Snyder. And then on the other half, you have either, I don't know if it's MCU fans or just strictly Zack Snyder fans that are just ripping this apart, saying that it looks cheesy, it's too bright, too colorful, it looks like it's a high-budget CW movie. Like, I really don't understand that approach, just because Superman was never a dark character. He was always a bright, hopeful character. Zack Snyder kind of changed things a bit there, and I guess people maybe became accustomed to that. Moving on from the teaser itself, the future of the DCU is, I wouldn't say confusing. It's just all the pieces are not there quite yet, with, you know, them saying that season 2 of Peacemaker is going to be canon to the DCU, but bits and pieces of season 1 are and are not going to be canon. So that's a bit confusing there, but still, if you're a seasoned, you know, DC or MCU fan, like, you're pretty much used to the kind of continuity shifts, especially with the multiverse and blah blah blah. That's not too confusing. It's just like right now that it's just starting out, we kind of still are up in the air. We don't really know what's going on, but we will soon. James Gunn has already talked about the projects that are going to be involved in this first phase so far, and the first phase isn't even fully announced, so there's just so much more that we're going to figure out eventually that we just don't know yet. So I just think right now, honestly, DC's in a phenomenal spot right now, considering their only competition being the MCU and Sony. It's just looking as good as it can for them right now, considering the fact that Marvel is, if we're going to be honest and blunt, is on the decline right now with the things that they're struggling with. Because, you know, like it or not, and I am a fan of Marvel myself, but the ratings are just not the same, and they're clearly declining in terms of not only finances, but, you know, the reception from the audience and critics, and that's just not something that we can skip around. And Marvel's just had a tough time finding a flow as of late, ever since Endgame. And it really doesn't help, considering the fact that Spider-Man being the hardest hitter that Marvel has right now, considering the fact that Tony Stark is no longer. It's just, we don't even know if Spider-Man's going to appear in the Sonyverse anytime soon, if it's going to be a different Spider-Man, if they're just going to go ahead and sell the rights to Marvel. We really don't know what's going on that side of things for certain. So as I said, I just believe James Gunn and the DC as a whole are in the perfect spot to just take advantage of these shortcomings that Marvel is unfortunately having at the moment. So DC did upload a video like a while ago of James Gunn basically talking about the projects that they have planned, and what it looks like is Creature Commando, Waller, the new Superman movie, Lanterns, which is basically going to be a live action show, so we're going to see a bunch of Green Lanterns, which is awesome. The Authority, Paradise Lost. We're getting a Batman movie called The Brave and the Bold, which is going to include Batman, other members of the Bat family, and most importantly, Damian Wayne. This is something that we have never seen in live action before, so that's absolutely amazing. It's going to be a seasoned Batman as opposed to Robert Pattinson's year 2 Batman, so that's awesome. I really do love that, and I would like Robert Pattinson to stay in his own verse, and I would just like a new Batman for this new DCU verse, more of a fantastical version of Batman as opposed to a grounded version. Moving on, we've got Booster Gold. We have a Supergirl movie that's gonna directly come after the Superman movie in terms of timeline. And last but not least, Swamp Thing. And there's also more announcements that are gonna come, so this might not even be the entirety of the first phase. We're probably getting a second half of this that's gonna complete the first phase of the new DCU. If you want in-depth descriptions of what those projects are going to actually be like, you can go ahead and just search the YouTube video that they did upload with James Gunn talking about all this stuff, and you can basically get some more information about it, or just, you know, maybe watch some, you know, other videos about it. But that is what the slate looks like so far in terms of, you know, the first phase and everything. So I've got to say, it's definitely a good thing that they're starting to not only mix in fan favorites like Batman and Superman, but we're getting some less popular characters that are going to get, you know, brought to live action / you know, animation and even live action shows. That's a great thing, and it's, you know, if it's done right, Marvel has unfortunately met its match, and I'm a fan of both products. And honestly, I'm just a comic book fan in general, so I'm rooting for both, but it looks like DC right now has the advantage. And as you do know, Marvel has a bunch of stuff confirmed for 2025 and 2026. As of right now, DC so far only plans to release less than 5 projects in 2025. As we know, currently, that could definitely change. So don't take my word. James Gunn could, wake up tomorrow and make a whole nother announcement. But as of right now, we know that only a couple projects are confirmed for 2025. So yes, it's a bit less than Marvel. However, quality is always going to beat quantity in these situations, because Marvel can pump out 30 shows and only one of them can be good, as we've seen before. No disrespect at all. All due respect to Marvel. I love Marvel. It's just they're on the decline, and I can't, dance around that fact. As I said, and I'm going to keep saying it, if James Gunn and DC do this correctly, the tables will absolutely turn. There's no doubt about it. And with Marvel on that decline, if we're being honest, it just doesn't hit the same anymore. And once again, no disrespect to Marvel at all, but it's just, we can't ignore it. DC, the ball is in their court. They have every opportunity right now to just pick it up and slam dunk it and just, reset this universe, to the best of their ability and come back from the mess that was the DCEU. Now that it's just the DCU, we've got a fresh slate. We've got a reboot going. They have every opportunity to fix everything that went wrong. And I'm fully ready for that to happen. I'm not saying for a fact that they are absolutely going to do it, but I have the utmost confidence that they will. Now listen, is it over for Marvel? Of course not. It's Marvel. They're going to do something. They're either going to, come back even stronger, or they're simply going to reboot the verse and try again. And I'm sure that they're going to come up with something absolutely amazing, because they did it once, they can do it again. However, it is undeniable, irrefutable, DC has the high ground right now. And with Marvel being plagued by cancellations, like entire movies and shows being canceled, rewrites due to actors being fired, delays and reshoots and things of that nature, like DC, they're just sitting back, rubbing their hands, stroking their chins. They have every opportunity right now to just steal the show. We don't know too much about the new Superman movie. We know the inspiration that James Gunn has taken to make this possible, but we don't know in depth what's going to happen, because all we got right now is a teaser. We're obviously going to get more trailers to come, and we've got an animated show out right now, so not too much to go off of, but just the way it's sounding on paper, I'm confident. DC fans, at least most of them, are confident. So let's just sit back and see what happens. But time will tell, and I'm very excited for what comes next.